Okay, so we've all been there, right? You're just mindlessly scrolling through your feed. It's all a blur of videos, memes, news, and most of it just kind of washes over you. But then, every once in a while, one single image just stops your thumb dead in its tracks.
And this is one of those images. It's specifically designed to grab you, to make you ask some pretty big questions about your own health and, yeah, even your own lifespan. So today, we're going to deconstruct this thing. We're going to peel it back layer by layer and figure out exactly why it works so well.
All right, let's start with what this image is trying to tell us on the surface. At first glance, it just looks like a pretty dramatic health post.
What it's doing is telling a really simple but powerful story, that there's this one single nerve, the vagus nerve, and it's the central hub for three huge parts of our health: the stress happening in our brain, the quality of our sleep, and the inflammation that's going on throughout our entire body.
They even call it your body's main switch. And that analogy is so powerful, isn't it? I mean, you think about a main switch in a building. If it fails, everything goes dark. The post is basically saying that if this one nerve gets weak, multiple critical systems in your body just start to shut down. It's a scary thought, right?
Okay, so now let's peel back that first layer, because this isn't just about biology anymore. This is where we get into the psychology. And it all starts with a very, very deliberate choice of words.
Just look at that headline. I mean, it is not subtle. And notice how it's presented. It's got this explosive, kind of chaotic background. It's all designed to make that one word, decides, feel like this massive, earth-shattering revelation that just jolts you right out of your passive scrolling.
And this slide, this just breaks down the psychology perfectly. On the left, you've got the word influences. That word gives you an out. It gives you an escape route. Your brain goes, okay, well, my diet and exercise can influence it too. But then you look at the word on the right, decides. That's a dead end. It slams the door on any other possibility and sets up this nerve as the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner. And that creates immediate fear.
And just as that fear is starting to sink in, bam, they hit you with this number to make it personal. 1 in 3 adults have a weak vagus nerve.
This is a classic tactic from behavioral psychology. It's called personalization of risk. It's the reason why when you hear there's a 1 in a million chance of winning the lottery, you think, hey, could be me. But when you hear there's a 1 in 3 chance of having a health problem, your brain immediately flips to, oh no, that could easily be me.
And you can see here why that 1 in 3 number is so effective. It's the perfect sweet spot for creating fear. I mean, think about it. If the number was 1 in 1,000, you'd probably just ignore it. If it was like 9 in 10, you'd think it sounds fake. But 1 in 3, highlighted just like this, that feels totally plausible. It feels personal, and it's deeply unsettling. It puts you right into survival mode.
So once your brain is in that survival mode, your eyes are naturally drawn down to the symptoms. And this is where the visual storytelling gets really, really clever and honestly pretty manipulative.
The first symptom they list is non-stop stress. And the image they use is fascinating. It's this dark, anonymous person clutching their head, while a jagged, fiery lightning bolt is literally striking their brain.
Think about it. Stress is an internal feeling. It's invisible, so how do you make it look genuinely dangerous? Well, you turn it into a physical event. This visual takes that abstract feeling of being overwhelmed and translates it into a concrete, urgent emergency. It's like a short circuit happening inside your head.
Okay, now let's move to the second symptom, poor sleep. But look really closely at the image here. The text says the problem is poor sleep, but the picture shows a man sleeping peacefully. So what's going on here?
This is actually a brilliant psychological trick. Instead of showing you the problem, someone tossing and turning all night, it shows you the aspiration. It shows you what you want. If you've ever struggled to sleep, this image is so powerful. It creates this emotional cocktail. It reminds you of your pain, but at the exact same time, it dangles that peaceful state you so desperately want right in front of you.
And then finally, we get to the most scientific-sounding symptom of the bunch, chronically elevated inflammation. Now, for most of us, that's just a kind of vague medical term.
So how do you make a word like inflammation truly terrifying? You translate it visually. You show a pair of lungs that look like they are literally on fire. This simple, shocking image completely bypasses all the complicated biology and connects directly to a primal fear, that feeling of burning from the inside out. It makes the threat feel immediate and totally visceral.
So at this point, the post has created a massive problem, it's made it feel personal to you, and it's illustrated it with these terrifying symptoms. But here comes the final masterstroke. This is the trick that guarantees you can't just scroll away. It's a classic technique called creating an open loop. The post has built up all of this incredible tension and curiosity by laying out a life-or-death problem, but it deliberately withholds the solution. And our brains just hate unfinished stories. You are now desperate to close the loop, and there's only one way to do it. Obey that final command to read caption.
And of course, there's a very practical reason for all this. By forcing you to stop, to wonder, and then to actually click to read the caption, the post maximizes the amount of time you spend looking at it. And that sends a powerful signal to the social media algorithm that this content is super engaging, which means it gets pushed out to even more people. So, after breaking down this incredibly effective piece of visual psychology, what are the real takeaways here? For me, there are two crucial points.
First, this whole thing is just a masterclass in why we need to be critical thinkers online. We have to always be asking, how are these words, these colors, these numbers being used to make me feel a certain way? But second, and this is maybe the most important part, hiding underneath all of that fear and manipulation, there's actually a profound biological truth, and it's that our bodies are deeply interconnected.
The post might use fear to get its point across, but the core point itself is actually valid. The stress in our mind is not separate from the sleep we get at night, and that's not separate from the inflammation in our organs. Our body isn't a machine made of separate parts. It's a single, complex, and honestly, a beautifully interconnected network. And really, that's the big lesson here. Understanding how these messages work doesn't just protect us from being manipulated, it actually empowers us to see the deeper truths they're often pointing to. So the next time an image stops your thumb, you'll not only know that it's working on you, you'll know how. And that's when you can start to question what really lies beneath.